Good morning and welcome back to Margin. This morning we're going to talk about other insurance policies that you need. So let's jump right into it. So in the theme on shelter and transportation, we discussed in greater detail the need for homeowners or renters insurance, as well as the need to have auto insurance. Now, in many cases, these policies are required from a management company for your dwelling that's rented, or a lending institution for your mortgage, in order to cover the asset that you either own or rent accordingly. However, I want to bring up these briefly in this specific theme, as it's especially important for your legacy that you have the right amount of insurance for what is typically your greatest expenses. Now, that being said, for a renter's policy, you typically need to have a policy that covers the contents of your dwelling. The landlord that you have who owns your building will have a property insurance, policy that will cover the various flood, fire, or acts of God like a tropical storm on their own property. However, you will want to have a policy that covers your contents in the event of damage or break-ins or theft otherwise on that property. So those contents will still need to be covered. So although many landlords now require this policy, it's especially important that you make it a priority to list out the contents of your apartment, your condo, your townhome, or your home otherwise, and have a list of those contents, their estimated value, and ideally a picture of the item. Now, you could go into more detail and put the actual specific numbers associated to that product according to whatever you own, and you can go into whatever level of depth that you want to go, but at a minimum, at least have an inventory of what you own. Now, this will prevent you from missing items in the event of a loss and will simplify the process in dealing with your insurance company. So, as for a homeowner's policy though, if you own a home and have a mortgage on that home, your lender will require that you have a homeowner's policy in place. Now, this homeowner's policy will mirror what a landlord will have on their property, and this policy will cover flood, fire, break-ins, or theft otherwise, as well as acts of God like tropical storms in Florida, earthquakes in California, or flooding in Louisiana that we've experienced, all of which in the last year or so. So the important part is that you have a policy on your home that covers the full replacement and the full rebuild of that cost of your home, not just the stated value upon the inception of that policy. Now, this will prevent you from being stuck with the difference in the event that a partial or full rebuild is needed on your property, but the insurance doesn't cover that. And so that will prevent that from happening. Now, if you own your property free and clear, you will want to have an insurance policy still in place covering these same aspects. Now, if you have this in place, I know it may feel like an additional cost that may not be necessary, but you want to be able to protect that asset in the event that some act of God, some event happens, and it would be a huge bummer to have that paid off and then have a massive cost of repairs or replacement because you didn't have enough insurance in place. Now, if you own a vehicle, you will be required to either hold a liability only or comprehensive policy. Now, this is to cover the liability of the occupants in the event of an accident, or on the comprehensive side or the comprehensive policy that will cover the full repair or replacement of your vehicle in the event that it's stolen in an accident or has experienced some kind of loss due to some act of God, as well as the individuals involved in that situation. So having a policy that covers aspects like uninsured motorist, roadside assistance, as well as maybe a rental car reimbursement or expense account accordingly, may make a lot of sense to add to your policy. So if you are unsure which policy to get between the liability or the comprehensive policies, you will want to look at the book value of your vehicle through Kelley Blue Book or NADA, as well as the market value for that vehicle, especially in a time right now where the market value can easily exceed the book value. So if you have a loan on the vehicle, it will most likely require full comprehensive insurance. You won't necessarily have an option when it comes to that, because the lending institution will typically require it. But if no loan actually exists, you will want to compare the value of the vehicle to the difference in the premium you experience from a liability only premium to a comprehensive premium. And this will help you to figure out how long it would take you to replace that vehicle if you did indeed go with a liability only policy and that vehicle was totaled or stolen or something happened to that vehicle. Now, the purpose of briefly discussing these policies is that there are a number of injuries and deaths per year attributed to property relating to your dwelling or your transportation. So being mindful of having the right coverage in place and ensuring that you have peace of mind with both your dwelling and transportation is so important. And especially if, God forbid, you pass away due to one of these aspects, and it will ensure that you have the coverage in place to prevent your loved ones from having to deal with yet another aspect of your passing, in addition to the grieving over that. Now, leaving a legacy is properly planning to the best of your ability to protect your loved ones. So having this type of insurance in place will help you accomplish this, will help you bring this together so that there's these different components that you're covering, but as a comprehensive approach to making sure that you're covering the bases. Now, my call to action today is to look at your dwelling and your transportation to ensure that you not only have the right policy in place, but that you have reviewed that policy at some point this year to ensure that you have both enough coverage as well as the right coverage in place. If this information is helpful to you, please do like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're reminded to come back on a daily basis and improve in managing your personal finances. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.